price. Looks like we're just trickling down here, especially after that swing high sweep from yesterday at around 1 o'clock. We swept and we have been moving down ever since. And this looks like it's going to go towards the gap fill. And I think that if we get the gap fill, it would be a long opportunity.
Connected to Pixel 10 Pro.
NQ is actually moving up here. What I'm looking for is a move up towards that 74.20 initially, but it was very dependent on what we do this morning. Downside too, but downside we've all sold. Other speeds of downside, that's interesting. Okay, YM has been a rock, just dying right now. Nvidia, oh, Nvidia is looking interesting before its earnings. Ooh, that's a funky one. NQ and ES are diverging quite a bit here. Another 5 points to gap fill here. Getting real close. Gap fill would be perfect. With potential long. Oddly enough, I'm still a little bear bias, but I'm gonna try to shake that. Wow, there goes NQ. Got close. Come on, we can spool down a little bit more. No, it was close. No cigar though. VIX is coming down, oddly enough. There's not a lot of action here. Waiting for that gap fill. And then negative gamma to the upside now. Holy cow. It's changed drastically. We can't do the gap fill before pumping. Brutal. Okay, so we're just gonna pump up right above here. This is brutal. Want it a little bit lower before we run up. Oh, and NQ's headed up right now too, off VWAP. Back to 73.75. YM seems to be holding up. It didn't sweep its overnight low though, so. Oh. 23.75 was the balance. Nice. 3.95 balance moderate. Extend. Test. Oh, that's 73.60, 73.40. Balance moderate at 73.25. At 73.40, balance moderate at 73.20. Boy, oh boy, come on. You couldn't give me a clean, nice entry off of the gap, though. Ugly. We're back to the opening. Oh, okay. Funky price action. Wow. Did not anticipate that. For you guys. I really wanted to see a little bit higher, but it was brutal. Wow, that was incredible. Margin of error 74.55. That is reversion level. Side 23.96. Centroid. Find the sand. That actually value area low? That's insane. It was not value area low when I first checked it. And that was brutal. And that value area low was much later. Yeah, my value area low was much. Brutal. Just missed that trade completely. And he went up. Value area low did move up though. No news at 10. Oh, I don't know. That was value area high, value area low to value area high, rejection. I want to think we see further upside. We front run that. Back to 73, 75 balance here on SPX. Really wanted to see that gap fill before we went up. Yeah, I really wanted to see that gap fill before we went up. It was brutal. Sure, where we go here. I really wanted to see gap fill and then a move up to 74.10, 74.20. That would have been ideal for me. Ideal play for me today. This would be very telling though. Very volatile. Very deep candles in the 5-minute. I think it came up just a bit shy. Instead, Alma's level kind of held it up really nicely. So far so good. Index has moved from upside test to downside test. No time to rely on charm yet. Too early. But knowing what test level is in the ODT framework is really helpful for active markets. Oh no. See that? I wanted it to go a few more points lower. We didn't get it. And we didn't even get to 400 in SPX either. Let's see here. Yeah, I really want to see it run up to about 74.10, 74.20 would be perfect. VIX is doing, NQ is doing some funky things here. Hey, Koshik. Straddle today was 36 at open. It front ran my gap fill. I really wanted a gap fill and didn't get one. $9.47. Oh, nice. Good short. Off the previous day high. Sweep. Let's go. That's a nice short. So what I wanted to see was a gap fill, and then a run up towards 74.10, 74.20 on SPX. So about 30 points higher from here. But it front ran my gap fill by a few points. It's weird because Alma had a little downside pivot there at 73.59, I believe. It was basically 73.60. But yeah, I did not long off of that. Maybe I should have. I was really looking for the gap fill. 73.55. ES equal lows. 73.55. Oh, I see. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to see. Like if we did a gap fill, we ran up. I don't know that we were gonna go down today, or if we would go down after hours from Nvidia. Like I know FOMC minutes is today. I just don't think anything of it. Mainly because that was Powell's last conference, and I guess we'll get some insight as to what was actually said at the meetings. So, but I don't think anything new is gonna come of it. And like the real mover is gonna be Nvidia after hours. Want to see a run up? Yeah, that would have been the perfect thing if it ran up to 74.20, 74.10, 74.20 on SPX. And if we run up there, then I'd be open to a short down. $15-minute SMT. Oh yeah, that's right. You logged it yesterday. Yeah, it's a pretty big SMT. This was pretty much the pre-market balance zone. I think we opened up around like 73, 75-ish. Yeah, man, that was a good short. Very good short off previous day high. Pretty much went right back down to VWAP, almost, but I'd count it. Yeah, I completely agree with you. It was moving very fast this morning. Everything is looking a little heavy right now. Yeah, basically I'm seeing like a negative gamma cluster. 73.55 all the way up to 7400, I guess. 73.75 is that balance point. So we're just hanging out there right now. Yeah, NQ tends to make my blood pressure go up. One hour close a doji on NQ. So I don't really know what I want. But everything else is pointing down from like a 5-minute, 15-minute perspective on NQ. Especially after the SMT, as you said. Oh, 4-hour looks kind of bearish. But it could take a while to play out still. Yeah, it's looking very heavy right now. Maybe it might finally do the gap fill. More points down from here would be the gap. This is what I wanted to see to go long. Initially, I wanted to do like a first touch type of thing, go long. I'd hesitate the second time around though, if it does hit like the gap fill. Yeah, that was a really good NQ sweep. I was on the computer, but I was doing a few other things. So I actually just got back and I was just trying to get my head back into it right in front of the computer. And as I was looking at the charts, I didn't really notice that ES did the sweep of, I guess it was a swing high of yesterday, the 1 o'clock candle. Maybe it's 1 o'clock. Yeah. Around 1:15, yeah, 1:15-ish. And I completely missed it. And technically that would have been my short. Yeah, because ES swept first and then NQ swept after market open. think he was just consolidating here. Long on ES. Pay back my previous trade profit. Long on ES. Off value area low. I'm just not seeing much here. It looks a little heavy for me. 10:06 bounce. 10:06, 10:06, 10:06. Oh, I see. Okay, okay. VIX is climbing a little here. And then if we happen to get through that 73.50, it starts slowing down quite a bit. I guess it's like that positive gamma effect. Because right now I'd say it's localized negative gamma, especially based on the positioning that we're in a negative strike cluster. Looks like charm is like pretty heavy this morning. It's already measuring at around 30, but I generally still disregard it. And 358. All right, so here is the gap fill approaching. Everything just looks so heavy. Like the 4 hour to me was bearish. 1 hour looked a little bit funky. That one was hard to tell. So I have to think it might be headed towards your initial target of ES equal lows. Oh, there's the bounce. What a crazy bounce. Right off of, close enough to gap though, I think. Looks like this is your long here. But that 1 minute candle is 15 points. Insanity. That must have been news. All right, let's see. Can we get into the negative gamma? Basically bounced off of Alma's pivot again. Slash the gap fill. Yeah, this is what I wanted as the first move. Like if that initial move around 935 went down towards the gap fill, like within like 5 points, I would have went long. Or 3 points. Like this is pretty close. 3 to 5 points. I would have been happy to go long. That was exactly what I wanted, but I didn't want to try it after the massive bounce that we saw already. Pakistani army leader may visit Iran tomorrow to announce the final version of the agreement. So it was news. The next round of negotiations will be held in Islamabad after the Hajj season. Not sure what that is. Hajj season. Hajj. What's a Hajj season? Trying to look it up. Hajj 2026 will take place from May 25th to 30th. Oh man, they couldn't give me this. They couldn't give me this on the first touch. Brutal. This hurts my feelings. And that would have been like a 10-minute play. Less than 10 minutes. Oh, that hurts. I wanted that. But early. Yeah, you were just like a few minutes early. Holy cow. So I went right to 7,400, yeah. See, that would have been a 40-point play. Golly. That one hurt. And that wiped out a ton of positioning. That was dealer shorts after the news. Now we're in like positive gamma. Brutal. Funny because I thought the charts were looking a little bit bearish. What was interesting though, um, was value area low pre-market open, um, was sitting around, I believe, 73.77. So there was like a few different things that kind of worked out nicely. There was the gap fill, value area low, and Alma also kind of had a level there. But I hated that we moved lower. Like in the first 15 minutes, we moved lower, didn't touch the value area low, and instead it moved the value area low up. So it's just really hard for me to go long, like, and then second touch of the gap. Yeah, that was a tough one. I felt that one. That one sucked. Let me check on the straddle here. Analyst still holding up at about 34. Sitting at 32 right now, actually. Man, brutal. I'm licking my wounds here, Koshik. It was like I wanted that. I wanted that one, but I wanted it off like the first run. It was like bottom to top off like that first 15 minutes was like almost 30 points. So I didn't think there was going to be that much juice there the second time round. Let's see how the OD chart looks like. 74, 74, 5, yeah. It's here 120. Yeah, we're gonna go straight for freaking 74.20, man. 74.15. 74.10, 74.15. Brutal. to the upside. Above the centroid, 7415 is magnetic. Yes, we can see why based off of the dealer positive positioning. It's about 7,900 right now in positions. Uh, 7405 is also magnetic. So we're sitting there right now. There's a lot of day left though. So like if we get up here this early, I have to think we're in for some sort of whipsaw. Volatility should be compressed locally to go through that and make customer spread capitulate. If it happens, target is pinning. And target's at 7440. And that was a good 5-minute close for a short there. Big volume on that too. I'm slow today. Very slow today. Maybe it isn't a short opportunity. Still sitting above the centroid here. In this magnetic zone. I don't think I'll try a short until 74.25. 74 or about 5 points closer there. So between 74.20, 74.25 is when I would love to short. Yeah, price is fast today. Just like my decision making is, I feel like a snail. But there's like a lot of whipsaw too. Like we would go down only to come back up really hard and then go down hard and then come back just as hard. Like NQ looks like a megaphone. And I'm not a huge fan of like a nice megaphone pattern. You're out of bullets for today? You hit, wait, if you, like, that's a hard set rule that you set in place. Just like, hey, no more than 3 trades a day or something, or 2 trades a day, and you won't break that at all. Man, that's really good. That's really good. It's kind of interesting though. Like for me, I I generally have, like, I know it's my average. It's like I take maybe 2 trades a day. Sometimes I might hit 3, but then there are days that I hit like more, and more often than not, they're red days. And you know what's even worse is you see these promos that come in, like Lucid 50% off, or like an Apex 90% off the eval only, because you still have to pay activation fee. But then you're like, I get an account, I can get a cheap account that I can mess around with. And that promo would change my entire mindset on how I treat that account, which is brutal. And I think it's like, that's how they game you. Oh, do I meditate? I think I don't meditate well. Like I cannot. I was talking to a monk about this actually about a year, maybe 2 years ago, and looking for advice on how I can, like, I guess, detach from everything around me and just kind of focus on nothing. And what he basically told me to do was practice. And I never got around to practicing it. My mind is always racing. And he was like, you gotta try to zone in on one thing, and that's it. And it might just be your breath work. And you maybe try it for a minute today, and then in about a week, maybe you push that to 5 minutes, and then beyond that, it keeps on going. But I have not been practicing it very well. The area that I live in is a city, and everyone here is like so fast moving and fast paced. And it kind of rubs off on you. Like I think the saying goes like, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with most, right? And over here it's really fast. Like on the West Coast, everything is a lot slower, a lot more mellow. It's kind of nice. Like I went to Vancouver a few times, and how much, like, the way that they don't really care about work is unreal. Like, it's just the culture there. But anyways, do you meditate? Oh man, that's impressive. It's very impressive. At what point do you do it during the day? Is it like a morning thing or is it an before bed thing? Midday and before sleep. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I feel like right before sleep is it's great. You can turn everything off in your brain and it winds you down perfectly. But 40 but the midday one, that's an interesting, very interesting point of the day. Try to meditate. Normally like midday, it, everything is just peaking, right? The most amount of people in the streets, the most amount of commotion during the day. Um, do you any tips from when you started? And how do you kind of drown out all the noise? Like, are you in a dark room when you meditate? What are you focusing on? Is it just breath work? And that's amazing. Interesting. Dark room concentrating between the eyebrows. Breath control comes along the way. What's this feeling of bliss? That's interesting. Yeah. I would think it's something hard to explain. What's interesting is like you would trade like this is close to your end of day, right? Like what time is it there right now? It's 8:20. Yeah, like you're approaching your end of day right now. You do like this very stressful thing in between the hours of like what 6 7 p.m. to about 9 p.m., maybe 10 p.m. And then you're able to kind of unwind through meditating, which is genius. Oh, damn, that's hard. That's a tough one. Yeah, because like for me, I spend most of my day like this, right? And I do pay attention to the charts and stuff during the afternoon, and then after that, I get the kids, and that's stress in a different way. Um, and then I finally get to wind down once they go to bed. And then sometimes I would have the chart up again, potentially, if there's like a point of interest. Sometimes I'd like to draw like volume profile edges onto like my charts. But I'm away from the computer at that point. Like I'm normally like on my phone or my tablet if I am on the charts, and a lot of times it's just looking at it, not really trading. Yeah, I only have 2 kids. Yeah, but I definitely need that time to wind down. Like, and normally it's really your trading hours, but for me it's normally about 8 o'clock to about 9:30 or 10 that I would use that time to kind of wind down a little. But if I like, there's times when I like left a trade on overnight and I would wake up multiple times in the middle of the night. And that's like pretty stressful. All right, we're moving towards that 74.15. I would like to see a 74.20, 25. What do you do during the daytime? Curious if you end up like back testing a lot, or oh man, that's awesome. The real estate sites, are they like commercial retail kind of sites, or are they like commercial office buildings, or are they like homes, rental properties? And 2 hours at the gym, you're wild. That's why you sent me those movies to watch. Yeah, we're getting close here. I really want to see this move up to 74.15. 7,700 positions there for customer shorts. But I would like to see it run towards 74.20, 25 for a decent rejection. About 8 points away from 74.20. I normally want to short off a swing high level like that, but right now it just seems that 74.15 is that magnet. And then we might push up a little bit more for a decent short down. I just don't think we get past 74.25 without rejecting it. This is all SPX, so we're at 74.12 right now. Hey, if you're new here, don't hesitate to say hi. Seems like we're rejecting here off that swing high. Yeah, I'm definitely not taking any trades on stream, so yeah, I don't trade enough for people to kind of jump in and see that I'm in a trade, for instance. Yeah, right now we're getting a decent rejection off that 74.15 level. Still about 7,600 positions there. But no SMT, no nothing. So not really looking to trade this. previous day high is about 7 points off the highs, I believe, off our current high of days. And that would be perfect for me for a rejection play. It's very possible, you're right. But this is I think I'll have to try it. And the reason why I have to try it is because of what I'm seeing on the gamma charts or on the breakdown by strikes. And it happens to also coincide with the previous day high, if it should reject there. So the confluence kind of like works. But I don't think you're wrong either. And I don't know that I'll hold for like a big trend down. It's more of a scalp, I would say. But I don't doubt what you're saying. I guess pretty low volatility here. I can see it breaking up to the upside. But it just needs to like consolidate around here for a bit to wear out the positioning at 74.25. But I think the 74.15 and 74.25 positioning are correlated. They are like someone put on a short call spread. Yeah, it definitely is a short call spread. And going around doing the real estate stuff, that's actually pretty cool. Like, that's something I would have wanted to do when I was younger. Well, no, sorry, I lied. Not when I was younger, but maybe in my early 30s. That would have been awesome to do. But I used to work for a condo developer. And yeah, I guess there's a different department that deals with acquiring land. And I was part of like the construction process, if you will. Yeah, I was looking at that same trend line too on ES. Personally, I don't believe we can, like, if we were to make any moves, it's gonna be after Nvidia. I know we have FOMC, but I'm just not. I'm expecting FOMC, nothing to really come out of FOMC until the new guy takes over. I'm probably gonna kick myself a few times once I go off stream for not taking that long off of the gap fill. So mad. I'm still mad about it. So I have to like try meditating. $74.15. $74.25. Yeah, I don't think I would have tried that 74.15, even though we rejected. We ended up getting maybe 8-point rejection off of there. And I get that we swept swing high from yesterday on ES. But I thought we would kind of sit and chop around at 74.15 a little. Run towards 74.20, 25 on SPX. And then quick rejection. Hopefully get about 10, 15 points off of that. That's the prayer anyways. Was that long from the bottom that we were talking about earlier? Off the gap fill, SPX gap fill. Like that would have been so perfect. And we ride it right through to 74.15. Like that was the play. Just based on the structure that we saw too. Oh, if I was short, yeah, I did not short, so, but I am looking at, like, I was just analyzing it based off of what we're seeing on the breakdown by strikes, the gamma chart, and how it had confluence with the ES swing high sweep. I think we're definitely getting some visitors here. Except, like, whoever they're watching ends streams around 11 o'clock, I guess. And then that's when I notice there are people looking for streams. And there's like a bit of, what do you call it? Impressions that are made. That they come across my video. Some of them pop in for like a minute just to check out what's happening. And then they leave. But the only people that I spoke to, holy cow. The only people that I spoke to yeah, I'm not sure what that was. But I thought about giving it a short here. I need to know what that is first though. Because I don't want to get railroaded. Trump, the US in final stage of talks with Iran. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that. I'll try it in that other account that I'm kind of messing around with, but I think I'm gonna get railroaded if I do. So this is a nice previous day high. Let's see. Is that previous day high? No, it's even a higher swing high than that. Monday's highs. So it's the week's highs. We'll see what happens with Iran, he says. Okay, we're at 30. 15-point rejection. Yeah, I'm out there. It's weird. I don't know why it cut me out a little earlier. Okay. Yeah, I'm out completely, so. Yeah, actually, I'm actually very glad that you picked up on that. The previous week low, because that was like the big rocket ship, right, from yesterday. And then again today. But there are times to take your shot though, right? Let's see, what was the high there? Was it 35? Oh, it was 35. That's amazing. And I say that because there's that negative strike cluster. So 35, we reject because oftentimes you have to retrace a candle that just rocket ships like that, right? So 35 was kind of perfect. You write it back down for about 10, 15 points. And I got 13 points on that one. But I was not quick enough to like No, I didn't. I rather not mess with this account, to be honest. Like this one I've been fairly strict on. The one that I'm showing on stream. But yeah, that was a good one. It's like a strategic spot. 74.35, and then ride it back down to what was that anyways? I think it must have hit 74.20. Yeah, it might even went a little bit lower. 74.15. Yeah, shoot, that would have been like almost 20 points. Okay, I'm glad I got something. But I could have easily have gotten railroaded. Yeah, there's no way I would have held on that one. As much as, like, there's times when, and I'm still trying to figure that out, but there are times when I would want to hold and I don't hold, or sorry, there's times when I should hold and I don't hold, and there's times when I hold when I shouldn't hold. So it's always like this ongoing battle, and then every trade I take, it would be like a mental battle, and then you would end up having like confirmation bias from what happened the previous time based on how you logged it. It's just like, oh man, last time this happened. But it's always tough. It's tough. And that was also the edge of node. Like it was pretty close to the edge of a node on ES. But this also looks like a head and shoulder pattern on the 4 hours. Yeah, on the 4 hours. But we'll see. I'm not messing with this. I'm not going to try to short this again. I think I got pretty lucky there. And that news was very timely. It was like we were hanging out at what? 74.07 with the chance to kind of blast through towards 74.25. That news just pushed us way up above that 74.25, about 10 points up, still in the negative, dealer negative strike cluster. And now we're back down to 74.20, where right now there is balance. But this thing could come down towards 7,400 too. And if it does, I'd be worried about today. Like for further downside. So first, the Pakistani news about the Iran deal, and now Trump's news about the Iran deal. We ran it twice off the same news, in theory. Anyways, I think we were just talking, or I was just talking about like someone's stream ending. Whoever they're watching, their stream ends at around 11, and then a bunch of people start looking for new streams to watch. So that's when like I start getting impressions and start getting visitors to the stream. It's fun to see, but I think you're right. They're looking for like a copy trading stream. And the only people that I've spoken to on stream were ones that are looking for gex. Those are the only people that I've spoken to on stream. And I think it's like been maybe 3 or 4 people. You observed a pattern on a monthly chart. SPX or SPY, I guess. March, June, September. March, June, September, December. No 2 red months in a single quarter. No 2 red months. Gotcha. So if we get a red month in February, we get a red month in March, April, we're gonna be green, is what you're saying. Oh, that's interesting because 2022, the same thing happens. I think the only time was 2023. And in 2023, I don't think the drawdown was even that large. But we somehow got three consecutive red months. Oh, sorry. Per quarter. Per quarter. I'm gonna go back. I want to see, because right now I think we're hovering around. We're doing something very similar to like the late 60s, early 70s. But I think it's safe to say the straddle was mispriced at the beginning of the day. Check on the straddle here. Straddle's at 24 now. $74.15. Holy cow. See, in terms of contract duration, not like January, February, March. This is not a quarter. March, April, May is a quarter. Or are you talking about ES contract terms? Because I guess you're kind of, yeah, you are technically right when you say March, April, May is a quarter. But I still think like, so like the March quarterly. So it's kind of weird. Depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about ES contracts, March expires around mid-March, and then we move into the June contracts. So they do call it the March contracts, the June contracts, and then the September contracts, and then December contracts for ES futures. For SPX and how a lot of hedge funds and portfolio managers handle their portfolios, they rebalance oftentimes at the end of the quarter. And their quarters are actually end of March, end of June, end of September, and end of December. June, July, August. December, January, Feb, March, April, May, June, July. Okay, but I guess the question is why are these the quarters that you set? March, April, May. What's interesting about the quarters that you set is that the end of the quarters that you set, like February, May, August, are all structurally weak periods. Seasonally weak, I should say. And I believe Chem Carson actually was like one of the first that told everyone on Twitter really why that happens, and it's because for the expirations in CME futures trading, such as equity indices, contracts are most common. Yes. Okay. Yes, exactly. That's right. Yeah. So so if you're talking about the E-minis, which is the ES. Yeah, 100%. Same as NQ actually. They're March, June, September, and December. Yes. But what you're showing at the end of like the quarters that you were showing, like February, May, August, that's interesting because that's actually when the weakness begins, like around Feb OpEx. So maybe I don't view it as a full month, like when we're talking about like how price moves and the next month and so on. I always view it from the third Friday of every month. That's when everything kind of like resets. Yeah, so whenever we're approaching February OpEx, which is the third Friday of that February, and then the same as May, because they call it sell in May, go away. They call it that for a reason. It's because of seasonality. And it's always the third May of the third Friday of that May. And then the same with August. Sometimes August could start a little bit earlier, but oftentimes it's the third Friday of that August. And as soon as that happens, that's when the weakness is pretty much open. Ooh, that's interesting. Now, do you specify when in February it turns, out of curiosity? Pre or post OpEx? Because normally after the third Friday in February, volatility kicks up. And a lot of times any strategy that was working in low volatility goes out the window, and now you're working off high volatility. The same thing happens in August. On the first trading day of the new contract. Gotcha. Yeah, I personally, from my experience, I personally hate trading when the E-mini rolls to a new contract. And normally they roll to a new contract I think the Monday or the Tuesday of like the third week. And that to me, like, volume profile kind of goes out the window a little because you're moving into a new contract. You don't know which one they'll respect. If you're using like a contract specific, like on TradingView, I use ES1 exclamation mark, and it's a continuous contract, and I use B adjusted, so it's adjusting for the new contract changes. And the new contract changes normally is about 60 points away from SPX. And everything gets adjusted accordingly. All the previous contracts, they get 60 points added to it or something like that, to make sure that the levels kind of remain what they were, but for the new contract. So in essence, like, the volume profile should work, but they don't work that cleanly because things aren't that clean because you're moving to the new contract. And then I've also tried to use contract specific, like ESH, ESZ, ESM. And those, because they're so low volume prior to the contract roll, the new contract has extremely low volume prior to the contract roll date. So anything you reference in terms of volume, obviously it's low, right? And this is why it makes a lot of sense. And I found it very interesting that you use SPY, and SPY is great because it's very consistent, right? My only problem with using SPY is, like, SPY works from a volume perspective, in my opinion. But when it comes to like dealer hedging levels, I want to refer to SPX, but I can't refer to SPX for volume profile and anything volume related, like, since SPX is computed, right? In terms of volume. Like, it's not actually traded. Only options are traded on SPX. Yeah, I see. So generally, I find that whenever we do the contract roll, that's when I'm a little bit more hesitant to trade. And we're approaching it again. I think we're about 3 weeks away. Three to 4 weeks away. And yeah, that's going to be another period of time when everything shifts and got to readjust. From a volume perspective anyways. But I do agree. I agree that where you start to struggle, if you will, or not struggle, it's just like a regime shift. And the regime shift normally happens after the Feb OPEX, the May OPEX, and the August OPEX. And I'm talking about SPX OPEX. And the reason why it happens is because a month prior to the quarterly happening, so quarterly normally has massive positioning, is the way that Chem Carson explains it. So if quarterly has massive positioning, it, after the August OPEX, so let's say we're talking about September quarterly, after the August OPEX, then that quarterly, the September quarterly cycle becomes the forefront of the SPX. And that's when things tend to move a little bit more. I'm going to have to see if I can find a video, like an old video of Chem explaining this. He does a really good job explaining this. Again, like, for me, I'm no expert. I just use it. And I know when we're in structurally weak periods. And when we're in structurally weak periods, happens to line up with seasonality, which would be Feb OPEX, May OPEX, which is sell in May and go away, if you ever heard that saying. And then August OPEX is when people come back. And he's like, yeah, like, seasonality, it's not a magical construct. It's actually it's actually driven by the quarterly OpEx. And the quarterly OpEx has the most impact the month prior to that, the quarterly OpEx, which is why when you say Feb, May, and Aug, like it just checks all the boxes. Because normally Feb, May, and August are the times that I would consider taking like a swing put, for instance. Yeah, I'll see if I can find a video. Yeah, once I find it, I'll send it over to you. There's just so many. And they're normally like an hour to 2 hours long. So I have to find an old one because these days he's talking less about that. I think I found it. Just give me a second here. Okay, I timestamped that. This is like one of like my favorite interviews, I think, with Chen Parson. It's kind of what got me interested in the whole dealer hedging stuff, and then also like the gamma stuff. But where I timestamped it is actually where he talks about when you historically see highs or lows. And I think that's where he starts talking about the monthly, the quarterly cycles. Might even start at about 53 minutes, but I think, yeah, but 57 should be good. Yeah, the 57 minutes would be good. Yeah, right where I timestamped it, it should be perfect. I think this one is like very specific to the Feb-March timeframe. That was the quick summary I got from Gemini, but I would suggest definitely listening to that. US 500 capital. Yeah, give me one sec here. Not showing for you. Okay, let's see. US 500. US 500 capital comp. Yeah, I've seen it before. I just find it odd that it's not here anymore. Black bull market? Maybe that's the one. Maybe they renamed it. Oh, you like using that one for range bars? I see. I actually normally use... I don't have no idea how they are for range bars, but I use spread decks when I need to reference so like SPX, but spread decks here. This is the one I use to reference overnight price action, but SPX price. I don't think it'll give you what you need though if you're doing range bars. Like, I don't trust it for volume either. I'm just looking at it from a SPX price perspective. But it moves the same as ES during electronic trading hours, or Globex, whatever you want to call it. It's very odd that they removed that. Maybe maybe like their agreement came to an end or something. Is there any chance that they renamed it? Because they do have that black bull markets. Have you seen that one before? Oh, I see. Never mind then. All right, I think I'm gonna call this one. Cut out the stream, have some lunch, and then kind of see what happens from there. But likely no more trades. I don't think I'm gonna take any more trades today. All right, Koshik. Take care, man. I'll see you tomorrow. Alma does not have any levels for tomorrow or the next day, so I'm gonna fly blind. Yeah, take care.